Hi everybody, Russ and my Amazon 11. Hope you're all safe and well. New channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icons to be made aware of any time new content on, yada yada yada. You all know that now. Hope everyone is safe and well. Tonight's guest, it's taken a while for me and Dan to finally. It has. We've had Nikki, we've had Ryan. Now we've got the Holy Trinity now of West Ham Fan TV. It's Dan Lawless. How's things going, man?
Yeah, good, mate. Good to finally get on. Like you said, it's been a lot back and forth trying to get our schedules on going and things like that. And we just picked a date and we had a bit of notice and was like, yeah, let's do it.
Exactly. We're busy men. So
yeah, that's it.
So it's it's a lot easier with particularly now it's a bit more tricky because obviously stuff's picking up and how's everything with you sort of work wise and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'll work wise, nothing really slowed down for me because I've been working from home all of that time. So it's been busier in some points because I can take more on where I don't have traveling time. And then when the West Ham stuff, obviously we do the games, the friendlies are back on. So I did some watch alongs and stuff like that. And we're doing those. We're trying to keep it going. Whereas usually we'd be there or interviewing people outside the stadium. That's what I miss, going there. I put a video up earlier where I was outside the ground. I saw. And it was nice because everything's like this. And I like to, get there and talk outside the stadium in these different locations. So it was quite nice. I was in Stratford anyway. And I was like, yeah, let me just go there and actually film something outside the stadium. So it's not just this, people seeing my neck curtains all the time.
I know what you mean. It is weird. It's weird when you go. I mean, I remember you said in that intro when you was there. It's weird. It's surreal looking at it because you haven't. I mean, usually you have an off season where it's 6 or 7 weeks, and that's okay. But for such a long time, assuming someone like yourself who goes to all the games, and it must be for me, it's no real difference, honestly, because I'm still there. So, but for the fans who have obviously 50, 60 years, some of them might never miss the game. It just must be so bizarre, man. So strange to see.
Yeah, it was eerie sort of seeing it and then knowing really it's going to be a long time before I even get to go in there again. And but yeah, it was nice to have a little walk around and to see it again.
Yeah. Well, we'll be there on Saturday apparently, so Brentford. So it'll be even quieter because there'll be no journalists really there. I don't think there'll be fuck all people there, but
just
me, and about £100 million worth of players just sitting back. We'll see what happens. But
so you do the DJing, right?
Yeah.
So you're still, even though there's no fans, you're still playing the music and that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We still have all the videos and everything. So obviously you have people that spend advertising, haven't they, through this, and so I still got to play the ads and things like that. And it's funny because I always say, my floor managers, I'll turn up a bit for whose benefit, whose benefit, there's no one here, you know what I mean? But no, it's a bit weird, put a bit of music on for the players, warming up. Otherwise, it's a bit strange, isn't it? It's really weird then. The only thing that's really sort of narked me a little bit is the Premier League said we had to play goal music, and I'm a really, really advocate against it. But I understood. So for 19 seasons or 18 seasons, I've never played goal music, and then I had to play it for the last 6 or 7 games. It's been weird, but particularly the first time we played it, it was a disallowed goal. It was Souček's for Chelsea's.
I didn't actually notice the goal music.
No, you don't. I mean, are you a crowd noise on or off person when you watch?
I usually have it on. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's probably why. So you don't hear it as much. But we play Twist and Shout, and it is a bit weird. And we've done a few things for say when we play Bubbles, we mix a slightly different track, so it sounds like the crowd are singing it a bit more. So you still have the still have the 19, but it's sort of mixing a bit, and we still do it. Yeah. It's just weird. It's so weird. So weird. It's gonna be weirder to next week because it's gonna be weird on Saturday just because it's a friendly and there's gonna be absolutely fuck all people there. But it is what it is, man.
For the goal music.
Well, hopefully we'll score and then you hear it. Otherwise, it'd be
I tell you what, if it's anything like the Wickham game or the Ipswich game, you'll be quite. You got to have your fingers on them buttons, quick time, mate.
We're gonna have to warm it up today.
Exactly.
But it was good, wasn't it? It was 9 goals, 2 for, 2 against.
Yeah.
And
what team can say they're beating 2 teams at the same time and scored 9 goals?
I still don't understand why they did it though. I don't get it.
It's weird.
You know what I mean? It's weird.
It showed that we've got there's a bit of depth there, which is good. But
definitely, because I assumed one was going to be under 23. It'd be like, obviously, was it 4-4 today with Orient, I think, in the I assumed one was going to be a West Ham 11, they call it, in it, when it's like basically on 3 threes and a couple of first team, and then one game would be a first team. But no, they fair play, split it both, and did all right. And it was nice to see Haller obviously missed a few, but nice of him to score a few. Dean Garner, some nice assists, hat trick of assists. One of them looked a bit dodgy though. VAR wouldn't have called the first goal, but don't matter. And Bowen couple, and it
was I think it was a good mix. I think they got the balance right on both teams, like the mixture of players. So it's good. It was good to watch.
It was nice to see a couple of the youth team as well. Because obviously I've watched a few under 23 games because they do them under the stadium, and we do it. We do music for that as well. And nice to see a couple, particularly for the Wickham game. It was nice to see there was a centre back and a left back who hadn't been heard. Baptiste. And
there was a few players in there I hadn't heard of. Well, they look decent.
They look quite. It was quite nice.
So hopefully we can get them a bit more of a run out. He wants to do this Red Bull model, Moyes, and he wants to focus on youth. So let's see.
Well, it's just bollocks, isn't it? The Red Bull model. It's just good business. It's just good business sense. I mean, you see Chilwell going for Chelsea 45 million, and and on the BBC website it was like 4 or 5 of them. They listed them off like like Kante, all them lot. And it was like they paid 20 million for them all, or 25 million, and they sold them for combined 250 million. It's just good business sense. That's what it is. Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
model, but I know what you mean.
They've had a blinder. They've had a blinder. They have Leicester with the players that they've sold, the money they've made, and the ability to replace and still get up that level. And that's what you want. Not buying players and selling them super cheap, like much cheaper than you bought them for.
Exactly. A bit of a fire sale, but it is what it is, and we'll see what happens. And it's West Ham in it, Dan. So just same old in it. It's
exactly.
That was going to change, really. I've been talking to people who've been going since the 60s, and they were like, "Look, for fuck's sake, we had 3 World Cup winners on our side, and we never finished higher than 6th in the league." And it's like, fair play. We always think.
That's the thing, though. For me, the difference is it will always be the argument against that is, but we didn't sell our stadium. We never sold our stadium.
It's always like pinpointed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like we could have been the same. We could have done all this and still been at Upton Park. We'd have been there for like cool. But then that's why it's like, well, we left for this. Like, you better deliver. So that's why the magnifying glasses on it a bit more.
Yeah, of course. Exactly. But we talk about silverware. We got to the final of the Betway Cup again this year, so we could be the first team to win a trophy this year. Exactly. Open. It'd be really shit open top bus parade because everyone would be 2 meters apart. So
I was saying on the watch along with my mate Jace, I said I want to see when in the London Stadium. You got European Cup Winners' Cup, FA Cups 1975, FA Cup 1918. I want to see Betway Cup on there. Along with those trophies,
they never put the Intertoto up there as much. It's like, and for like you and me, Dan, that's probably only silverware we ever probably saw.
Exactly.
Probably ever likely 2-seat, to be honest. But and it had 3 winners. That's just so weird. It was so weird the Intertoto Cup. But it's all good, and we'll see what happens. It's just West Ham, innit? Yeah, blind optimism until about 3:45 on the first game, and that's it. Then you're like, oh, okay, start again. Then look at the bottom. You look at May and go, "Hey, we've got to beat to stay up."
Yeah, there's something about it, isn't it? No matter what's happened the week before, you're dreading it all week, and you're down and everything. And when it gets to the match day, and it gets up, you're like, we could win. And you get up for it, and then you get smacked back down, and you're like,
anything happens. Anything happens. That is the thing with West Ham. It's like we could win the league or get relegated, and nothing either way would surprise me at West Ham.
Yeah, it's true. And we've seen it so many times, isn't it? When you're on a horrendous run, and you go, Man United's come up, right? And it's the peak of their powers, Man United. You're like, and then we go and smash them. And you're like, where the hell did that come from? It's.
all the time. But that's what but you're going to get 3 or 4 of those a season, and that's basically what we live for. Those 3 or 4 times they turn up really out of the blue, and it's a shame that happens, but it's happened ever since I've been supporting West Ham, and nothing really changes. But it's we'll see what happens. It's I mean, everyone's like, oh god, look at the fixtures. Obviously you have to play everyone anyway, but I'd rather play him early on, get him out of the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose so. It's just that thing, isn't it? Of like, you don't want to get to that point where you're at the bottom come October, and it's like, right, we got a claw now, and we got to try and make up some ground. And it's like, like every time we get that season, go, oh, that's a must win. Oh no, that's a must win. We ain't won this one. No, that's a must win. And it'd be nice to have just a boring season.
I would take a Kerbishley-esque, Allardyce-esque sort of 12th, 11th, 12th this next season.
No real sign of going down. No real sign of getting to Europe. Just keep it calm. Like, of course, I'd love to get in Europe, but I'd rather at least.
But then we do, and everyone's like, "Yeah, it's getting to Europe," and then we end up playing in Birkirkara or Astra, and we'll lose to them because we don't go for it. You know what I mean? There's so many games in that Europa League just to qualify for the league. Then the league itself, you know what I mean?
I just want a few seasons of top 10 finish. Just a couple seasons stable, build.
Then quarterfinals, occasional semis of a cup. That would do me. I think that would be nice. If I'll have a word. See what we can do, but I'll have a word. Mr. Moyes, can I have a quick word? I was talking to Dan Lawless. You know Dan. He was outside the ground 3 weeks ago. He's stalking the place because he misses it so much. It's just it's the thing about West Ham is like, you have this, as you said, blind optimism, and every game, and you come back on a Saturday, you'd have lost to Burnley, and you would have unseries linked match of the day already because you don't want to watch it. You don't want even a record of it being in your skybox. And then, as you said, Monday morning, here we go. Start again. Someone said it's like being in a really abusive relationship, and you hope they would change. They'll change one day, but they don't.
Yeah, exactly. And occasionally they do something nice throughout the blue, buy some flowers or something, make you think everything's turned around, and then the next week it's back to just abuse.
Yeah, exactly. But it's abuse you'll want to start again. As you said, you walk past it, you missed it, and it's just getting back and seeing live football and just seeing your mates. And obviously, you guys, we do after games of interviews and stuff like that. That's what your channel lives. That's what it's known for, and it must be really hard and just trying to drum up people and stuff, because otherwise you're right. It's like Zoom calls and video calls, and
that's the thing.
It just gets too much, man.
Yeah, I think that sort of like set us apart a little bit in terms
definitely.
of some of the other stuff, because we was someone who was always somewhere, was like Asian was away and home. And I do miss the away games, and that's going to be a long time before we get to go to the away games. And that was always fun for me. Not so much Oxford United when I went to that. But like when you go, but it was always like nice, the atmosphere was great, and being there with the away fans and get to go to different stadiums. I miss that, but that's going to be a while before we get into
most definitely. So Dan, the first question I always ask everyone although we're only 13 minutes in, so that's not bad preamble, is why is West Ham your club, Dan? Why is it? Why are you West Ham?
Yeah, it's an interesting one for me. I mean, obviously, I'm from the area, born in Plaistow, grew up Manor Park, sort of Manor Park East Ham way. Not too far from there. All my family support West Ham. So naturally, when I was 6 years old, I supported Newcastle, like randomly. It was so weird because I was 6. I wasn't one of these one who's like, I remember when I was 3 and I loved football and I was into this, Even when I was 6, even when I started, when I was like, but like everyone was talking about football, and I sat there in front of the score thing when they read the scores out, and then they read out the name Newcastle, and as a kid, like castles are cool, aren't they? Like, and I was like, when you're a kid, like, what's a West Ham? Like, what is that? What's that? So for a couple of years as a kid, like, I was like, I'd like West Ham, and then all my family was just like, right, presents, just shit, give Brian loads of West Ham, Newcastle stuff. So that became a thing. But I still wasn't like really into football. I loved Alan Shearer, and I had some of course. I'd see the occasional game, but I was still into Sega Mega Drive and stuff like that. It was my main thing. And as I got older, and I actually started to really get into football, I said, actually, Newcastle is a place that's very far away, and I have no chance of ever going to it. My mum couldn't even afford to take me to the West Ham games around the corner, let alone take me to Newcastle for a game. So, you start to realize, oh, right, okay, so it's a locational thing. Newcastle is a place. And, so as I got into football, obviously, naturally, it was like, West Ham.
Yeah.
Which I think I hear it happen to a lot of people, a lot of kids, you know, when they started kids, they were supporting Liverpool in the 70s and stuff like that. And as they got older, they went, I support West Ham. West Ham's my team. So anyway, my uncle took me. The big thing, my uncle finally took me to a game. I think it was like 99, 2000 time. And that was when you go, that there's just a different thing. That's when you're cemented, I think.
Yeah.
When you're there and you're like, yes, this is it. My brother fell asleep. It was my brother. I don't know how it was noisy as you like. My brother was like that. He was asleep, and I was there. I was just like captivated by the atmosphere. So, that was pretty much it, really.
As you said, once you're there, once you're in. I haven't interviewed anyone who said, "Oh, yeah, I went to a first game and it was all right." Everyone was like, went to my first game and that was it. I was done. And then, you know, I blinked and it's 25 years and I'm still
even the people that went to games where they got battered, like we got battered, it's still, because it's that whole thing, like you're there and when you're young and there's nothing like it, is it, where you can just turn up on the day and it's just the bustle of the crowd and the market stalls, just a whole build up to it. And then you go in, you're walking through the turnstiles, that whole part of it, and the smells and the sounds, and you're there and you're hearing the songs and I can't remember if it was my first game or what. I remember we had the Hammerettes.
Oh,
and it was
I used to love the Hammerettes.
You liked the Hammerettes.
Well, no. The reason, right. Here we go. Cards on the table. The reason why you used to like the Hammerettes were because they used to come up to the box. Because I was doing the music then, and they used to come up to the box, and so they'd all be, and I was probably like 18 maybe 17, 18, and half a dozen scantily clad girls of my age and a little bit older, a lot older, were coming up and having a chat, and it was like, oh hi. I remember because I brought an ex-girlfriend up there once, and she basically turned around and they said, oh, it's so cold up here or something like that, walked down, and she gave them like a real sarky line. It almost kicked off between the Hammerettes and one of my girlfriends. It's absolutely brilliant. I just like proper cat fight, just imagine it. But yeah, bless them. They used to warm up in like the concourse, and so you had like chefs bringing plates of stacks of food for all the corporates, and dodging Amy or Julia doing some backflip or something. It's a really bizarre, but and it must have been awkward, because like all these girls dancing, you don't really know where to look, to be honest.
Exactly, because you're there, you're a kid, and I'm with my uncle and that, and you're like, and it's just like, what is this? Like, this is supposed to be football. Football, working class football, not American pizzazz pom-poms. It was just the weirdest, most awkward thing, and everyone's watching it, and I'm sure there's kids with their mums or their aunts, and it was just so weird, like really
so strange.
Halftime stuff, a lot of the time, I don't think we've ever really. It's hard to do. Really. I mean, most of the time, you want to go for a beer or you want to go for
exactly.
It's not really. I mean, they did in the early. I think it was like the first Premier League game on Sky or something. I think it was an Arsenal game. I see it was on Twitter or something on YouTube, and it had that He's a good. He performed live.
Oh, Shaman
at the game at the halftime. Yeah, that's it, Shaman. Yeah, that's it. And they had that. It was like, this is going to be the big thing. We can get bands to come and sing at halftime, and. I don't think that lasted long. No. It probably wasn't sustainable.
We had Pixie Lot. That's pre-match. We had Pixie Lot pre-match once, I remember. And we had, we had some. Oh God, I can't remember. He was an Arsenal fan, and it was for the FA Cup, and they were doing. And he sang the official FA Cup song. The FA Cup never had a song, and he came on at half time. It was someone. It wasn't like Spoonie, but it was someone like that, and it was like. Why? Honestly, why? Because we have to, because we signed up with the FA Cup. That's why.
Yeah, the Hammerettes. Steve Austin came once. And,
we had old Stone Cold, Batista.
Yeah, they come and promote a film and they give a little speech, and everyone's like,
do that. And actually, I saw Batista in the week after in Orlando Airport, and I sort of went up to talk to him, and he genuinely enjoyed his time at West Ham. So there you go. Don't know if it's bullshit, probably was, but it's and obviously the Hammerettes, because Al Fayed bought them, didn't he? And bought them to Fulham, and they became the Cravenettes. Massive.
Right. So that was he bought the Hammerettes. The same.
He was at a game. Yeah,
women.
he bought the same because they were called the London Lights or something like that. Their official name, and West Ham sort of hired them, I think, as the Hammerettes, and it was West Ham Fulham, and our Fired saw 12, 15 teenage middle-aged women dancing and thought I'll have some of that and bought them, and that's why we never the Hammerettes.
I'll say
and for a while we had like the sort of almost like the Hammerettes light, and it was like a younger kid, it was almost like when you have diversity and the younger version was just not very good, because we didn't have any of the good ones because they were at Fulham. But
they were at Fulham. I can't imagine all these sort of like posh middle class Fulham fans sitting there.
It's Alfred. He didn't really care, really, did he?
No, he didn't. There was actually, I remember it was like 5 years ago, I saw a petition online like bring back the Hammerettes. And I'm thinking that it might have been the Hammerettes behind it, to be honest. But yeah, definitely. I'm glad we ditched that. But that was one of the things. I can't remember if that was the first game or it was a bit later. But again, like I said to you on the Twitter, that's the thing I said about this. Like, my memory is so bad.
Oh, I'm crap. I'm crap.
I sit there, right, and there's Graham or Nicky, right, and I go, I remember when we played, Notts County in the Cup in 1997, and it was so scored, and it was raining that day, and I'm like, you remember this? Like, I can't remember games from like 2 years ago. Like,
I have to remember the order we played the restart games in. I still, I get confused. No, I'm rubbish. That's why. We have, Kent Irons, rather. He's always fact checking everything I do, and so if I say anything wrong, he'll say actually it was 19. Brilliant, thank you. And that fair enough. I'm rubbish. I remember moments by football shirts. So it's like, I'll say, oh yeah, that was Di Canio. That was Di Canio. I remember that. Yeah, that was when he scored against Arsenal or something like that. Yeah. Rather than the seasons, they all just blur into one. To be honest. That's being a West Ham fan, really. There's so much there. There's so much to take on board that it's not surprising that people forget all the time.
It helps me doing this channel now has helped me remember the games a bit more because you have to talk about it so much.
Yeah.
Talking about it so much, it sort of puts it into your head. Whereas a lot of the time, when you're younger, you go to the game, you maybe have a little bit of a chat in the pub afterward, but then it's sort of forgotten after that, and then you never really, whereas on here, I'm having to break down the game a lot of the time. So it sort of forced me. So some stuff it's a bit better, but still it's not great with the recent stuff. But my first game, I can't remember. I think it might have been Ipswich or what. I can't remember exactly. I can't remember who scored. I think we won. I think we scored quite a few goals. But again, it's all hazy. So
I'm the same. I don't remember. I remember my first game just because it was a typical West Ham game, in that we were playing. It was probably 92. We was playing Oxford United, and I remember it vividly because Oxford United scored after 30 seconds, and my granddad just turned to me and went, "That's it. Get used to it. You got a whole lifetime of this." And I didn't believe him. I never didn't believe. We won the game 5-3. I remember Julian scored an absolute cracker, but it's just moments. It's like moments like that just stick in my head, or and stuff like that. But it's like. I mean, some people have encyclopedic. I mean, the guy I do West Ham with, Martin Godliman, he is like on the spectrum, bless him, with West Ham. He would say, it's like if we're interviewing Jeff Pike or someone half time, he'll say, I'll go onto YouTube and get 1979. He scored a second goal against Coventry, brought it off and he describes it to the minute detail. Wow. And it's like, fair enough. I don't know who he is. Oh, he scored that goal that he said there wasn't the goal against Man United. Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah, but no, it's just all funny games. But you must enjoy. Since you've doing the whole West Ham fan TV, it's the whole West Ham experience has obviously taken over a different path for you, because obviously you're doing, not only are you sort of watching the game as a fan, but then you're sort of watching it as sort of a presenter analyst as well, because you have to then talk to the fans. So you must sort of be more in depth with watching the game now. It must be harder for you.
Yeah, you do, and that's the thing. It's so hard because obviously when you're at the game, and I know you watch it a different way because you're not in the seats now. You're in the box, or whatever. But you probably remember when you're at the ground. You're watching the game, but then someone will talk to you, and they're talking about the game. But as you talk, you might miss something, and now it's like that now. But it's so hard because you do have to concentrate more, because you don't want to say something and then it's wrong. So you got to want to, enjoy the game normally, but make sure that, all right, so yeah, if I say he's had a bad game, I need to back it up with, well, what's this, and this, and this. I can't just say, oh, he was bad. And it's like that. So it's difficult. It's definitely got its, pros and cons, because sometimes you do miss of just being able to, go out, have a good few drinks before the game.
Yeah.
Go into the ground, just soak it all in and watch the game, and then go and have some pints afterwards. So but at the same time, it is enjoyable because you get to meet so many other people, and actually all the people that watch our channel, we get to chat with about the game and things like that. That's why I really enjoy doing the watch-alongs. I call it like a therapy session, because we all get to come together, and people are in the chat, and we're watching it, and we're all experiencing it together, the highs and lows. And I do enjoy that, because it does bring you closer to all these people, like Australia and Thailand watching it and stuff like that, and you can chat to them and talk about the game. And so it's definitely always got its pros and cons.
Yeah, it's just like doing it. I mean, since I've done this, it's like you talk to some incredible people all over the world, and I'm like, fucking hell, like the guys from the Indian Hammers. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I moan if I have to get around, if I have to drive to Newby Park rather than go from Gidea Park, because there's a rail replacement bus. It's like, fucking, these guys have to like go through all these different VPNs and stuff just to watch a game. It's like absolutely mental.
Yeah, get absolutely up early. Mental. Some of these people, or drive
like Las Vegas, and
it's
absolutely crazy, absolutely crazy. And I know what you mean about watching the game differently. Because obviously, for the best part of probably 18 years, I've been sat in a soundproof box, really, and so I occasionally get to away games, but not very often, to be honest. So we started to go to the women's games at Rush Green. It's probably about, I don't know, no more than 10-minute drive from my house, and I got really into it and I was like shouting at the referee, and my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, he was a foul throw." It's like, what the fuck are you doing? I don't know. I really don't know. I just turned into this hooligan, and there's only about 1,000 people there. But it was just like, I had to go back and sit back in my box, go back in your box, Russ, and be quiet. But
see, I'm like when I'm watching the game, I'm a silent stewer. I really stew on things. Like I'm like that. Like I get tense, and sometimes I shout, but most of the time I'm like really tense and really quiet, and I'm like, they mutter under my breath. I'm not one of the ones that I don't shout at too much. I mean, I've got a geezer behind me, and he screams at everything. You're gonna miss it, aren't you? You're gonna miss it. But he's so negative. Like literally, before the player kicks the ball, he's already predicted they're gonna foul, and he's screaming. And I'm like, it's like the thing is, do I say something and make a difficult situation when we've got to sit together for like probably God knows how long? Or do I just soak in, and I just come every time I come so close, go, come on, mate. Like, calm down.
Just come on, like, pitch. Come on, mate. Yeah.
But people see when you see me, if you're near me, you see me, I'm like that.
Yeah.
Like that, and I really get sure, and I'm internally, and I'm sake, and then that's pretty much what I'm like. I really hold it inside and build up, which is it's probably more healthy to shout out. You really get it out. You're letting it out, those emotions. But when I'm really building it up inside and trying to contain it, just.
He's probably your mate behind you's probably got a really sort of stressful job, and he probably does the reverse and internalizes everything at work, and it just I mean, when you're a kid, you love going football. It's the only time you're really allowed to swear without getting a clip behind the ear. And so, although I remember once it was so far. I remember once we took one of my brother's mates, and it was his first match, and he was laughing. So obviously everyone's calling the referee a wanker and stuff, and literally the whole crowd went quiet, and he just stood up and went, "Wanker!" and everyone stopped and went. He just like, oh, bless, I remember that so vividly. Let's go and talk about 11, because so the whole idea is everyone we get on the channel, bar two people, Mr. Redknapp and Mr. Bishop, have picked an 11 on the channel. So the idea is you pick an 11 of the players. Well, the only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. That's it. So we don't always all have the same 11, because it doesn't have to be the greatest. It could be the worst. It could be we had a Corey from West Ham, the West Ham Way channel, do what was it, the younguns 11s, or not the younguns, they've got to change that really the name of it, but people, the teenage kicks we called it, because they made their debuts when they were teenagers. and it was nice. We had Zav on and stuff. And then, funny enough, next day, like today, I had Zav on. I interviewed Zav on as well, so it just sort of works quite nicely. And so, and it's great. We've had about 155 odd guests. We've had over 200 different players have turned up. So it's nice. It's nice because different ages and stuff like that. So for you, Dan. So for your 11, is there a theme, or is it your best players, your favourite players? What are you going to do?
I mean, look, it's going to be very random this 11 because I've just picked with players that I liked, that I really liked. Just players I like, where sometimes they weren't the best players for that position or the best. I just liked them. Something about that player drew me to them, and I liked them. And the funny thing is, Ryan was like, he goes, "Yeah, you got to have seen them live." So I've picked players that I've seen like in person. So there was certainly, like say Julian Dix, right? I was like, I can't go Julian Dix. I think he finished with us in like 99, I think he ended, which is just was taken to my first game, like probably just after he was, he left. So I was like, I can't go Julian Dix. I mean, I'd have seen him on the telly. I thought you had to see him in person.
No, not at all. Not at all. That's Ryan stitching you up. No, it's basically because I think saying if you've seen them play live, that obviously alienates the Indian Hammers because he hasn't seen anyone live. So you have to be alive to see them play. The only reason is you and me don't put in Bobby Moore, Jeff Hurst, Phil Parks, Bonzo, because
a lot of people will be the same 11s, wouldn't you? Get a very lot of repetition.
Exactly. As Gonzo once said to me, about 10 people in, he was like, "Oh, he's not gonna. You won't do more than 20. Get boring." But it isn't, and he apologized, so I give him that. Right. So because everyone has slightly different players who are close to their heart, and like me, Pete Butler was like one of my idols at West Ham, and no other fuckers put him in the team. But apart from the players who were around that time, because he was like, the water carrier type position. So, right, okay, let's go for the Dan 11, the Lawless 11. Let's go in goal. Who have we got? Let's start easy. In goal.
Okay, in goal, I've got Robert Green in goal. I've got Robert Green. He was one of that first keeper that I was really drawn to. I used to sit behind the goal a lot. So we used to always be singing, Greeno, give us a wave on the Trevor Brooking end. Greeno, give us a wave and all of that. And, he was good for us. And I was gutted when he left. I was really gutted. I remember that was when I started getting into like the online stories. I think that was the early times of the internet and sort of reading and, I think it's QPR, wasn't it? That was wanted to pay me, wanted more money. And I was really upset when he left. But I always liked Robert Green, and I always enjoy singing it. He'd come around, give us a wave, and you'd be like, "Oh, look, he waved at us." Like, that's cool. Cool was that? But that's why, because I was right there, sitting behind there when he played for us, sitting behind the goal.
Definitely.
Yeah, loved Rob Green,
and I really like Rob because I just think he's like he never took himself too seriously. He still doesn't, but he's like
that Chelsea thing with
the Chelsea thing, and his Sheamus haircut from WWE, and even when he was playing, he had England number 6 stitched on his glove, didn't he? Famously, and I think it's great. And he comes. He was on Crouchy's podcast, a few months ago. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And he's just,
I remember, wasn't it when he was in England? With the one for us, he had that big howler, didn't he? When he was playing for us, and I remember at the time being so upset for it. I was like,
me too.
Oh no, like. So
because it came on like a spate, wasn't it? It was a spate of England goalkeepers, one after the other, all made a howler, and it was like I remember Scott Carson made a howler. Everyone seemed to be making howlers, and Greeno got the jersey, and it was the USA game, wasn't it, in the World Cup? And you're thinking, because he was a West Ham player, you'd get stick from all your mates. Rob Green or West Ham, that's why.
Exactly.
And he's such an exposed position goalkeeper. If a striker misses a shot, but a goalkeeper fucks up, that's it. He's done.
Exactly. The mistake is much bigger. So.
It is indeed. So that's why I think you can't take yourself too seriously. Right. Okay. Greeno's in. Go for the teams you want to, Dan. So whatever positions you want to go and talk for.
All right. So I'll go left back.
Yeah, sure.
So left back, I've gone for Stuart Pearce.
Oh, nice.
I like players with a bit of an edge to them, a bit of I like them players, a bit of an art man. sort of edge. And I mean, he weren't like Julian Dixon, man, but you know, he was a tough left back.
Very tough, yeah.
He was a tough player, you know, and obviously now he's come back and he's still got that personality about him. He's still, you know, got that fire to him and that oomph. And I've always liked him, you know, and he's one of those players, like I said, who's just someone that you enjoy watching for those reasons rather than like his flair or something. You enjoy just seeing him, you know, sticking in the crunchy tackle. Or something.
You know he's going to put a shift in as well, someone like Piercy. And, you know, even at 37 or whatever, I mean, again, that was we had like a conveyor belt, didn't we, of like left backs who were coming to the end. We had Stuart Pearce and we had obviously Nigel Winterburn after him.
Well,
but he won the Hammer of the Year, didn't he, Piercy, that year? That 37.
And the thing is, he was, you know, England international, you know, and that was the times when I think the time when I really, really got into like football for me. It started to get into, it was like the Euro 96, right?
Sure.
The Euro 96 was, and then the World Cup after that, the 98. So those 2 times, you know, it really starts to pick up. And so that's where England became a little bit more on my radar. So seeing like, you know, we had this England international, and you know, it was quite cool. You know, he was a name.
Yeah. So, I know what you mean. Yeah. And as I said, it's great that he's back. I think he's absolutely brilliant. I just think, you know, I just think certain players work better with being scared of the coaching staff. Do you know what I mean? It's like we've had like Bilic, bless him, was like quite wants to be everyone's mate. And he was passionate, but passionate as a fan rather than, you know, you didn't think he was going to rip shreds out of people. Whereas, and even Pellegrini, you know, I could never see him, and even if he did, it just something about him. But you know, now with Moisey, with Kevin, with Stuart Pearce, with Alan Irvine, they can all dish it out. You've heard them all the touchline, and I'd be if it was half time and I was, you know, I don't know, Anderson or Lanzini, and I hadn't put a shift in or I hadn't done it. I'd be shitting myself going in half time. Yeah,
exactly, and that's it with Pearce and Nolan, two players had leadership abilities for them. You know what I mean? And players would respect them. You know, especially like, you know, a lot of players I seen respecting Nolan, and
definitely.
Yeah, so no, it's good. All right, so let's go centre back.
Sure.
Let's go for centre backs. I've gone Winston Reid. Love Winston Reid. He's. I mean, it's sort of not ended ideally. I mean, it's not ended yet. I don't think he's sort of playing for.
He played the other day. Yeah, he played for Seattle the other day. I saw he started, and it was his first game he started for.
Yeah, but he's still under contract, isn't he? At West Ham, he's still.
It's 10th year. Technically, it's testimonial year.
Exactly. So I would love to see him get a testimonial, you know, and he scored some important goals, maybe the most important goal, one of the most important goals, that final goal. And that, you know, that goal when that went in, man, it was just the emotion. It was one of the best feelings ever. Like, it's so hard to describe it. It was just, he scored that goal, and he gave me like one of the best moments in football. I was there with my mum, and it was just something else. Even before that, I remember when he was linked with the likes of Arsenal and team like that. He was exceptional for us, and I think the injuries at the end just, you know, it
happens in it with us.
That's the thing, and that's the sad thing. And he always seemed like, you know, a player with his head screwed on. He was very serious. His interviews were hilarious. The way he used to talk, it always made me laugh. His voice would go up and sort of up at the end, and the inflections would be like, you know.
Well, it's because he was obviously a Kiwi, but he played in Denmark for a lot of his career, so he's always going to be quite, you know, just not monotonous. That's the wrong word, but he's not going to. He's not going to have the passion. He's not going to have the passion of a James Collins, you know, like a Welsh Lionheart type thing. You know, he's not. He's not going to have that. But
his personality never really came across in the post-match interview. But on the pitch, I'd say it did, and he seemed like someone. He was a tough guy, not someone to mess with, and. Honestly, like really look back with fondness of Winston. So hopefully they can give him at least some sort of send off and not just quietly just sell him off.
Yeah, we'll see.
So
who's next, man?
Right, the other centre back, I've gone for a player that was probably one of the early players that I really took to, and that's Thomas Repka.
Yes,
Repka. He's another, like, when I just, you know, as a kid, when you see him, you think like this geezer's hard. It is hard. Like, this guy, just the look of him, and when you see him play, you just think, geez, I would not want to be, against this bloke.
He's scary, wasn't he? He was just scary, but he just seemed to be, I don't know, Thomas. He was just like one of those players. I thought you're similar to Stuart Pearce. You know, you're like a hard man, and where Pearcey had that sense of consciousness. You think, he's going to go, but he'll just calm down in 5 minutes. Thomas Repka, I just saw him like as a Tasmanian devil. You know what I mean? Just absolutely go completely apeshit everyone.
The unpredictability of it.
Yeah, that's because
He was like that, and obviously, look, he ended up having a bizarre story, and in very West Hamish, he was like prostituting his wife or something or other, or whatever that was about, and just crazy. And but yeah, he was one of them early players. I was like, yeah, this is my guy, Repka. That was the guy. Like, I think I never had. Don't think I had I never had a new West Ham shirt anyway to get the names on the back. So a lot of shirts was like it was hand-me-down shirts. But if I did, his name at the time would have been the name I got on the back of the t-shirt. Yeah, so it was a big rep.
Yeah. And he loved the club. Yeah, I mean, he bawled his eyes out when he left. And just shows how much the club meant to him. And you're right, his career or his life post retiring is more West Ham than when he was playing. As you said, prostitute his wife. I think he tried to. I think he sold a hire car. He used to get hire cars and sell them. Like for cash, and
it's crazy. We had another player, didn't we? Who had a crazy story. Who faked his own kidnapping. Who was that again?
It was Savio.
Yeah,
it was our top. We spent 9 or 10 million something out on him, and he faked his own. But wasn't he? He was playing in. He was playing somewhere random, isn't he? Like somewhere a random place, and faked his own kidnap for the ransom money. But
unbelievable.
Good old West Ham, typical. It was just that crazy period where we had just some really randomly crazy signings, and I love that period. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Oh yeah. For all the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
But so right back, I'm not sure if anyone else would have picked this, but I've gone for Guy Demel.
Oh, solid.
Really, just a player that I just like because he always seems to have a smile on his face. He just seemed like just a genuinely nice bloke, and he was there when I really, it's like every year I got older, I got more into football. Like when you're younger, you have so many distractions and so many interests and so much going on. And then the older you get, the more you can focus on it and you can go right, and your life gets a little bit more stable. And he was a time when I was going there a lot and used to see him. And I'll never forget when I was outside. When you're outside and you have the kids queuing up trying to get their autographs and their cars
for the railings, hands to the railings.
And I remember he was there, and I think it was they were shouting out Abina at him. I think it was Abina. After I was there to say, that's like Abina, autograph, and he's going, no, Demel. It's Demel. I was like, okay, shout out Abina. And I just remember he was such a gentleman about it.
Yeah, Abina was he was about sort of 2 foot nothing, weren't he? And Guidemel was just like a big muscle. He was just huge, but brilliant.
It was He was so nice about it. He was like, no, Demel. And he still signed their thing and he was lovely, and just such a likable player. So he was someone who, and it's that right back position has been such a problem for us for so long. It's just one of those positions that even to this day, we've had a problem with. So it's not. There's not really many sort of in that era you can list off he was exceptional players. But he was definitely one. You wouldn't say he remembered as the all-time West Ham best, squads if he was going for quality. But I liked him.
He's your right back, exactly. Your right back. And that's the thing. It's people like that, and that's what we like, because you get people who, as you said, people like Guy Demel who would be lost in the sands of time if it wasn't for a 2-minute chat about him today, or I don't know, Yeah, Jonathan Spector for that sort of 5 minute, half a game when he played against Man United, and then no one ever saw him from then on. And that's what I love about this show, because you just get like some really random. But yeah, Gee, solid right back. And you're right back. We haven't done well. I hope Ben would be.
Yeah,
he looks good.
He does look good. I think it's just where he's still young. I think he still needs that. He still needs time. I think it will develop into a solid right back. I just think, we had the time where we signed Byram and he looked good and was injured. Signed Fredericks, injured. We had that time where we had to make Antonio, and we had Tompkins in there first. We had to put him in. Then we sold him, and he did all right. And then we can put Antonio there, and we had Joey O'Brien for a long time. And it's been a mad position.
It's not a great list when you list them like that. It's a very make-do list, and it's even like, but you can see. I know there was the whole stuff with Ngakia and stuff, and and everyone was saying, "Oh yeah," because people see Johnson as, but it's like you see Johnson, you go, I can see why. He just he's a right back, but he's got a bit about him. He's got a bit of presence about him. He's not like Ngakia. I thought, a strong wind would blow him over. He seemed quite a tiny guy, and now fullbacks are just as big as the centre backs now. A good fullback, So we'll see what happens. But yeah. All right, Gee's him. Who's next, man? Midfield,
right? So in the midfield, let's see. What have I got? Yeah, so I've gone 4-4-2, by the way, just because it's easier. It's just easier. I'll get this one out. So I've got Martin Noble, of course. West Ham boy, local boy. Been with us, one of our highest appearance makers. He's up there, which is in an era where it's hard to get that many appearances at a football club. At a time where it really is hard. Back in like Billy Bond's days and Lampard Senior's days. I mean, still massive achievements, but today it's just so different where you just couldn't, like, you're never going to get someone who makes nearly 800 appearances for a football club anymore.
No, of course not. It's just the way the game. If you get 3 years out of a play, you've done well.
Yeah,
or a manager, you've done well for 3 years. But it's it's like when you interview the older guys, the older players, and they talk about. I think when we interviewed Tony Gow, he said literally every year he was there, bar one, was testimonial year. And that was the nature of football. You stayed for a club for a prolonged amount of appearances and time. Don't happen no more. And I think Martin needs to get, was it 5-0? I think 5-0-5. He goes on with Vic Watson, and so he goes, so it's like the next jump to get into a fair play.
And he's not far from getting to one of our all-time top goal scorers in the Premier League. Like he's gaining on, I think he's gaining up there. But so is Antonio as well. Antonio's getting up there. He's gaining on Paolo. So next season he could go above Paolo.
How does that work? No disrespect to Antonio, but he doesn't know what he's going to do after time, let alone. The defenders, but it's like someone like Paolo.
Look how many players we've had between Paolo and Antonio, right? And no one's come along to. That
was the stat that came out when he, because obviously he hit with that goal at Man United when he hit, when they gave him the penalty, where everyone was like, "What the fuck's going on here?" And that was his 10th goal, wasn't it? And apparently the last person who did 10 goals in the Premier League was Carlton Cole, and then before that was Ian Wright. It's like, fucking hell, you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah. You talk about a 20-goal strike season, 10 will do. Then we work up. Let's start at 10 as a base, and then we'll see what we can do. But
it's mad. It is madness. So, but Mark Noble, obviously penalty specialist. Since Julian Dix, he's carried that torch and he's been brilliant. One of probably the best penalty takers in the league. One of them, and
wasn't the stat when he was like the third best in world football, or second best in world football?
He was up there,
I think he was Lewandowski or someone that was 95. Kent Irons will tell me what it was in a minute in the description, but it was like 94, and then Mark was like 92, and then still below like Messi and stuff. So when Messi comes to West Ham, Mark Noble will be taking the penalties clearly because he's a better.
Messi can win the penalties. Mark Noble will take.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That sounds like the plan. But I mean,
we did it with Mascherano and Hayden Mullin. So
exactly. You got to know your place, Messi, if you want to come to West Ham. Mark Noble's the penalty man.
So someone's done his I was on Twitter. I saw today someone did his last
farewell speech, thing or whatever it was. And, It's brilliant.
I've spoken to Lanzini. He says I might get ahead of Antonio in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Lanzini's he's got to try Lanzini. He might, if he puts a word in, then build Lanzini a statue. If Lanzini pulls up, build him a statue. That's all I'm saying. If he gets messy at this football club.
Same Zabaleta's gone now, isn't it? Because he could have helped us out as well.
Yeah,
Zab.
exactly. Maybe he could still put a word in.
Exactly. Tevez loves West Ham. It's the only club he'll come to in Europe, apparently, and so. Yeah. Just saying, the pieces are starting to come together. There's a reason why we got rid of Hugo. It's to make space.
Yeah, and that's it. And maybe, just maybe, I might end up squeezing out another player and put him in my Amers 11. You don't know, Messi. Maybe you can. It's a tough list to compete with.
We'll have to do it all over again, won't we? Like in the season time. Messi. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the you got to compete with the names of like Demel and some
read them off.
Top caliber. Yeah. I can't reveal some of the other names that are coming up, but
no spoilers, please.
Messi. But I mean, Noble as well is another one. I mean, like I said, every manager has picked him.
Totally.
But he's dealt with a lot of criticism from the fans, and I think he's just one of them players who I think is underrated. He's one of them players, and I just think a lot of players when they go, "Oh, you're the Spanish Mark Noble," and this, it's just very. It's become one of them online things, all right? And he's not David Silva, but. Do you know what I mean? He works hard. He has got ability. Like I said, maybe he's not up there with David Silva, but sometimes you can see him take players on, and he'll pull something out, and you go like, "Oh, where did that come from?" Back when he's younger days, he had a good shot on him.
He did. And this sort of weird number 10 role he's playing. I mean, if you told him, whenever it was 500 appearances ago, that it'll be 500 games in playing a number 10 role. Yeah. So the first thing, like, what the fuck's going on here? But it sort of works.
When people write him off, it's when he comes out and goes, I'll show you, I've still got it. Like people have been saying his legs are gone for like the past 4 or 5 years. It's mad. It's so massive respect.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, the other player I'm going for in midfield is another player who I feel should have been a captain at this club. I still sometimes forget that he wasn't a captain. One of my favourite all-time players, Scott Parker.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved Scott Parker at this club. He was just one of those players that, he'd give it all. He had that leadership, and he was our Hammer of the Year. I think it was 3 years running. Yeah. Tells you everything you need to know about the guy. Absolutely gutted. Honestly, when he went to Tottenham, it was like a knife in my heart.
Really, yeah.
I saw someone I knew at work who was a Tottenham fan, and the smug look on his face, and I was just so. It was painful. It was absolutely painful. But yeah, I just one of those players, and who always come off like the ultimate professional. And the fact that he wasn't a manager, the captain.
Captain,
I think it was Upson.
Upson was, yeah.
And I was like, why is Upson the captain? Like, it made no sense why you would have Upson as a captain over Parker.
Weird.
I still don't get it to this day. And maybe if he was captain, he might have had a bit. I know he left a lot of time was England, but sometimes you have a bit more of a stake at the club, and you feel a bit more of a, a bit more responsibility. So I'm not saying it definitely 100% would have kept him, but give him that little extra stake in the club. And,
I'm glad, and it's great. I mean, it's great that he's, obviously he'll be there at the stadium. Might not be fans when he comes back with Fulham, but no, I think he's great, and he's just a classy bloke, isn't he? Even that as a manager, he's a class. Obviously, when he did that speech, which became a meme of, and put the streets on it, which is
that was brilliant. Perfect. It went absolutely so well. It was sort brilliant. Of about going home and having a Chinese, and
but it just came from the heart, and he's like, do you know what? I'd like him one day. I would like him, I think, as West Ham, just because I just think he holds himself really well. I do like a manager in a tracksuit on the touchline. I'll be honest, but
really,
But then I like Parker. Parker just looks smart. You know, he doesn't look like
yeah.
he looks like he should be wearing a nice polo top and some nice trousers. You know what I mean? Where, you know, sometimes Moisey would be in a tracksuit and okay. And then sometimes if we're playing a good team, it'll be shirt and tie, you know, just because he knows he's playing Guardiola. Parker would always be, doesn't matter about the opposition, he'd always be turned out in a nice.
It was funny. I was completely off topic, but I was watching the Champions League final and both managers had tracksuits, and you're like, it's the Champions League final. Come on. If there's ever a time to wear a suit and tie, it's the Champions League final. They're both wearing jogging bottoms.
It's like the guys who used to play Championship Manager, and they'll be in the cup final and they'll dress up in their bedroom in a shirt and tie because it's the cup final. You know what I mean? It's like
that's a whole level of commitment to that game.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, but no, Parker, absolutely, honestly, he was one of the players I loved to bits at that. It's like, favorite player at the time at that period. So had to put him in there as much as it hurt that he led. I've got a few in here that sort of left sort of under painful circumstances.
Honourable mentions,
a few players that I loved and they hurt me. And Robert Green and Scott Parker, were two of those. And I've got more in there. So the next
painfuls,
one.
Go on then.
Speaking of pain, I mean, this one I really debated about putting this one in there.
Yeah,
and I imagine a lot of people have put this guy in there, but I put Payet in there because just because, and I was still annoyed at how it ended and all of that sort of stuff. But he did just give me like such good memories and such a happy time of watching West Ham, and just actually bring that excitement back to the club where it had been like, you know, we'd had the Big Sam years, and you know, I'm not too down on Big Sam. Like, you know, I think he did a good job, but it weren't that exciting. I mean, his last year, the first half of the season, he played some good football, but we never got that real. We never had someone who could really get you out of your seat.
No, we had Stuart Downing in the top of the diamond. That was like the extent. Yeah,
exactly. So Payet, as much as I wasn't going to put him in, I thought, you know what, he just did give me those good memories, and then memories you'll always have. I do think there isn't a reason that we need to talk about him every day on social media and go like, oh, remember Payet? It's like, all right, I get it, like, but he's gone. Like, occasional, like once in a blue moon or whatever you can bring up.
Yeah, a throwback Thursday or whatever. Yeah, a few goals.
It's every year, but every time he does something in his life, it becomes West Ham news. Like, oh, Payet's ill. Payet's done this.
Payet's got COVID.
Yeah, he scored this goal for Marseille, and it's like, what has that got to do with West Ham? So, yeah, he won't go down as, like, if I was to say, what's your favourite players? It wouldn't go as a player in terms of like loving the player, because I think that's definitely soured. But a player that I'm just still thankful for those great memories, and just gave me such a fantastic time of watching football, regardless of how it ended. So I kind of had to put him in.
You have to. I mean, he was, and you know, and I've said it before on the show, like, we've never in my lifetime, maybe Di Canio to some extent, but everyone I know, all my Tottenham friends, Arsenal friends, United friends, they all wanted Payet in their team. They were all, it was always in their fantasy football league teams. They always shitted themselves when they played West Ham, and we had like the best, you know, realistically the best player in the league that year. And when's that? When have we ever had a Ballon d'Or nominee? You know, fucking never.
Yeah,
you know, and it's just like just to the privilege of watching him play in a claret and blue shirt. He wouldn't have made that season. That season would have been trash if he wasn't really there.
If he didn't get injured, we probably would have got top four. If he got injured in that Everton game and took him out for a while, and I think we did well to get the points we did. But we could have got top four, and it's a shame. Who knows if we did? But it ended the way it ended.
We love an as if as a West Ham fan. You know, it's like what, you know, when we had Harry on, we were talking about the golden generation, and he sort of declared that if he'd kept them all, we'd have won the Premier League. Yeah, we probably would have. We probably would have won the Premier League, but we didn't, and so we can talk about it because they weren't together. So it's like, you know, we like to daydream. You know, what if Payet was there? We would have been top four. What if, I don't know, Winston Reid didn't get injured, and you know, it's always what if. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what we love.
Well, I mean, that sort of perfectly segues into my next player.
Nice.
One of them players that we sort of lost due to the relegation.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Trevor Sinclair.
Oh, lovely Trev.
I've gone. I absolutely love Trevor Sinclair.
Yeah, me too.
You know, he's always come across as like a top bloke, quality player. You know, still loves the club, still talks about the club.
He does, yeah.
You know, obviously he's one of these. He's divided like between like Celtic, West Ham, and Man City.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, he absolutely loved West Ham. He was part at that time. He was there at a time when it was, you know, a good time
Great fun.
Yeah, great time to watch West Ham, and you know, he still has that iconic assist for the Di Canio.
He'll always be on Premier League, you know, highlights and stuff because of that, exactly for that cross.
Yeah, that's it. He was a versatile player, and I just think, I had to put that in there. It's a good. I think I've had a mix from a few different eras, you know, through my time of you know, watching West Ham and going to West Ham, and yeah, I thought I put him in. And when you said that, I thought that perfectly segues, you know. And that I know he weren't one of the obviously players that came from our academy, but he was there in that time, and we sort of lost out because of that. And you just think if we just didn't go down, if we just stayed up, you know, what we could have done, the players we had.
It's the same as like when you look at obviously the first playoff where we lost to Palace. That was Michael Carrick's last game. We were one goal away from sort of going up, and then Carrick may well have stayed, and we would have been up. You know, it's all sliding doors. That's what I love about West Ham. It's all because we haven't won anything. It's all sliding doors and what ifs. And if this had happened, the domino effect and the butterfly effect, you know, and that's what I love. And Trevor, I mean, you know, I always remember my granddad, God rest his soul. His eyesight was going, and we were like front row of the centenary upper in the family. We had really good seats, but he couldn't see anything really. And you talked about sort of Abina and Demel. That was my granddad. And anyone who did anything good in the West Ham shirt, he was black. So it was Trevor Sinclair. Could have been Shaka. But Trevor Sinclair, only bloody player on the pitch. Yeah, he's playing in goal as well, Grandad. Yeah, and he's 6'6", and he's 6'9", and he's from Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, but Trevor Sinclair, lovely bloke, and he's just followed me on Twitter.
Ah, nice. Get in there.
Get in there. Might be a mistake, and because now I'm going to bombard him with DMs until he comes on.
Get him on.
Yeah. Anyway, Trev's in. Who's next, man?
Trevor Sinclair obviously perfectly segues into the next player. He's again, it goes from Trevor to Di Canio, just like this. I had to put him in there. Look, we talked about Pyatt being one of them players that got you excited and made you excited to watch. He was the man, Di Canio. Like, he was the man. He was one of those players, unbelievable ability, but he had that personality that just draws you. West Ham, like, we love players like that with a bit of arrogance. He was just a bit mad, unbelievable. So that he just both of those combos. He was that player that we love to see, that flair player, but he was a bit of a bastard. He was a bit crazy. He was you didn't know what he was going to do after time, and he could just pull off just absolute magic out of nowhere.
Yeah, he was box office, weren't he? He was the type of guy that, you know, and it was that era, and it was just that era where anything happened. And, you know, when was it? 14 years ago, you were Saturday, and you were going to watch West Ham v Bradford City, and you're thinking, oh, fucking hell, it's going to be like, we're probably going to lose this game. And then you have a game you still talk about 14 years later, and just had everything, had like you know, and it was like, and then Paolo, it was the full gamut of Paolo. The personality, it was the perpetuousness, it was the sort of, and it was like when they all start, when he was, I remember he was on, you know, sitting on the touchline, didn't want to play, and then like it was like a soap opera, you know, Paolo. It was like energizing him like some sort of superhero, wasn't it? And he's like, I will play on, and then
and it was the love that he gave back, you know, to the fans and to the club, and you could see it. And it was just a club where it was just the perfect connection, you know. And he didn't want to leave; he wanted to stay. And to this day, you know, he still loves the club. He still talks about the club. He's got the tattoo, and you know, I went to see him embarking when he did that night, and unbelievable, charisma and the stories he tells, and really.
And the thing is, everyone's got a Paolo story. I mean, when we had Nicky told us a story about the barking thing, and about Paolo being all nicely dressed up, and he said, "Oh, I always dress up for my family," or something like, all these sort of stories. And we had John Joe and Gary Herman on, and he invited them to Swindon, and he was in the manager's office in Swindon at the county ground. They just lost, I think. And he spent 2-3 hours with John Joe in his office, opening his drawer full of West Ham memorabilia, clipping pictures. This is not. This is Swindon. You're at Swindon now. Another guy, Mick Clifford. He talks about Paolo. He was interviewing him, waiting for him to do it. It was a cup game. Harry said he weren't picked, so he went to the training ground to interview him. And he was in the car, pissing down with rain, and all we could hear was the Paolo Di Canio song, but someone whistling it for about 40 minutes continually. And then Paolo walks out with his towel around his shoulders. It was him. He was whistling his own song in the shower for 40 minutes in the pouring rain. It's like absolutely, but it's mental.
Yeah, mine would be obviously at that event. We all took pictures. We always got to take a picture of him, right? Yeah. And I remember I was heavier then. I was about like 14 stone, which is, for me, it was heavy. So I was probably my heaviest. And I took this picture with him. But I'm sort of, my chin is down. So like you can see like big double chinage, right, going on at the time. So I get the picture. I take a picture of him. I go and print it out, and I get it, and I look at it. I go, "Oh my gosh, I look terrible!" Like, no, I've got to get this picture retaken. I've got to get it retaken. I go back round, and I'm like, "Listen, you got to take the picture again to the photographers." And he's like, "I was like, what?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like, look." I said, I look like a fat lunch in this picture." to the photographers, and the guy's like, "That's how you look." And Paolo's like laughing, and anyway, so he retook it. So I've got 2 copies. I got a copy where I'm like this, and then in the second one I was like that. I was like, "Yeah, take it like that."
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's up there. I'll show you.
That's awesome. I love it. Good old Paolo.
You can see it. So I sort of tilted my chin up a bit. You see, I'm a bit bigger there. And then, it's one of those. I don't know where the other. Oh, here it is.
Oh, you got the other one.
Yeah, I've got the other one, the before and after. There it is. I can't believe I'm actually showing this. This is one I thought would never see the light of day.
Oh, well, there you go.
I kept it.
It's like
So there you can see. Look at the double chin.
Yeah, I can't really speak, but no, exactly.
Yeah. Well, you see at the time it was bad, so I took that, and I was like, "Nah, I can't be having that." So I went back and took it again, and lifted the chin a bit.
I love it.
And then I was happy with that.
Oh,
so
good old Paolo.
He was gracious, Paolo.
Oh, I love him.
And in fact, the second time he had a bit more of a smile on his face, actually, because I think he was still laughing at just what the whole situation. Yeah. He looks more serious there. So really, I've got a better picture. I think
you got better. Yeah, you got a much better picture, more friendly.
It paid off, So I was not having it. I was not having it.
Especially like it's once in a lifetime really opportunity, isn't it, to meet him?
Yeah, I thought I might never.
God, I'll be the same. It's like my wife. When she's, I like to be like a one-shot person. Take a picture, done. But like you take a picture and you got to take like 20, and your wife just goes through them and goes, "Nah, take another one." Oh, fuck's sake! I take like 30 pictures. No, I'm blinking. It really winds me up. But obviously it's one shot with Paolo. Because there's probably a massive queue after you as well to do it. And oh, good bless him. All right, man. Paolo's in. Who's next? Who's the last piece?
Best till last. All right. So from Paolo, we're up in it now. We're going up a level. You ask yourself. No, I wouldn't say it wasn't ever given. We've gone a bit higher than that. Like to think better than. You've gone up a level, and this player for me, one of my favourites of all time, Bobby Zamora.
Oh, the Z man.
Had to put him in there. Absolutely love Bobby Zamora. one of those players, local boy. Went to school in Manor Park, where I'm from. So like local lad, West Ham fan, scored some really important goals in our promotion campaign. And he was just one of those players who, I mean, look, when you look back, he, for West Ham, he scored quite a few goals for a West Ham striker.
Yeah.
If you look at it compared to like, other teams, you might look at his goal scoring record and go, that's not that much. And for us, at the time, you feel like, as a West Ham fan, and being you're like, it feels like he's scoring every week, even though he didn't. But it just seemed that way because of how West Ham.
He sort of did. I remember when we went up, and I remember at least for the first 6 weeks, he was top goal scorer in the Premier League. I'm pretty sure, but I don't remember him actually scoring like a clean goal. It was always like he came off his arse, his back, a reflection, and you just need that bit of luck. But he was just like, and obviously, he scored the goals. He took us up. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And he scored. I think he scored against Arsenal, didn't he? Helped us when we beat Arsenal. That time. We hardly ever beat Arsenal, right? And I always had a bit of a chip on my shoulder, because the thing is, being from East London, I knew people that supported Arsenal. I used to say, "You're from East London. Why are you supporting a North London team?" Like, and it used to really wind me up. They was all glory hunters, and we hardly ever beat them. So for him to help us score a goal, help us beat Arsenal, I was buzzing. And he just always came across like a great bloke. Still talks well about the club. And like I said, West Ham fan. And that was that period where we had like him, Harewood, and Rio Coker, and top.
We had a good bunch. And I mean, was that the Arsenal game where he basically tore Campbell a new one, and Campbell had to go off at half time with he lost his brain. He mentally like switched off at half time or something like that, I think. And I like Z, man.
He got
loves his fishing as well. Loves his fishing.
Yeah, and he's someone like who I think could go into coaching and stuff like that. And
well, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them in it that now. You've got she says you got Colton there now. You got we interviewed Zavon the other day. Obviously, Zavon's under 14 coach. You've got Conch was there. He's now at Billericay now. I know Marlon does a lot of coaching. Anton does a lot of coaching. For their various companies and things like that. But you think there's a really nice nucleus of players there who could, and I think when I was thinking of Zavon, we went through every sort of age group. There is a West Ham former first team player in the team in the setup, which I think is so. When you think we talk about it that way, it's really encouraging because I think we talk about Mark Noble and Mr. West Ham. Maybe a season half left. He's probably got maybe before he retires, and you're thinking then there's a huge void for having a West Ham-y person in the team, and so
and they're players that love the club, even before working. They left always talks positively about the club, and always, Zavonize is one. I know he always followed West Ham and kept up, and same as Carlton Cole, really, loved the club. And I think he rubbed some Chelsea fans up the wrong way a few months ago on Twitter or something. And it's just one of them things. And Zamora is one of them. Like I said, like it's a local lad, to me, even more local to me than Noble, So and I remember seeing a video. It was one of the early videos I think West Ham put out, and I think it was him and Anton Ferdinand going East Ham on the Barking Road. There's a barber's there. Getting their haircuts, and I'm like, I know that barber's like, like it's right around just near the Denmark Arms, and you're like, it was just so cool to be a kid from that area, and you're seeing these players that you really look up to, and they're like, we're from this area, like,
Well, it's gone full circle, hasn't it? Because it's like, I mean, now, obviously in the 60s, they were at a second job. Bobby Moore had a sports shop across the road from the ground, and he would go in there on someone I interviewed. He bought a tracksuit from Bobby Moore for his birthday. It's like stuff like that. And
blokes that age always have them like, I saw Bobby Moore in this place, saw him in that place, because they were so mixing. They'd go to the pub and
Yeah, well, they'd have, and we had a couple of the people from the Upton Park Life groups. The Jackie Hughes, particularly, she works at the Queen's Market, and Harry Redknapp had a stall, and Frank Lampard had a stall, and Frank Lampard Senior bought her prom dress because she owned all these sort of lovely little stories, and it's been more and more detached. He said, seeing Bob, sort of you and Bobby Zamora into East Ham. I used to live in Loughton, and they all used to live in Loughton, and I used to work at Safeways, and Shaka used to go in, and Safeways. Do you remember Safeway?
Yeah.
And you see Shaka, and you just see his head across the aisles because he was so tall, and we had like Smassy Abu. Bless him. He used to come in and buy, and or Paul Kitson, and now it's like you don't see any of them. It's like they're all in penthouses in Canary Wharf and Deliveroo, and so you don't see anyone now, and it's a shame because it's one of the most exciting things in the world to be a kid, and you walk down the road and you see like one of your idols. And then you can't get it now at the stadium because obviously they're so at least at Upton Park you put your hands to the railings and they'd sign your thing if you're lucky.
Exactly. Just even looking at, I never used to get the autographs. I used to just go and
see them, and they're closer.
Yeah. Or seeing them, or walking back down the Barking Road and seeing them driving their car, you're like, oh, look, it's so and so. Like sitting in the car and just to see them like up close, you're like, wow, like that.
Well, that was the thing. I used to remember about Bernard Lamar famously, and it always, because we interviewed someone the other day and he came up in conversation and he was picked in his team, and he would always leave the ground almost as soon. I don't think he showered. I think he literally got in the car because every game he played like half a dozen, 10 or 12 games for us just to get into the World Cup squad actually, and he was stuck in Barking in Green Street every game. Because you had like 35,000 fans walking down Green Street, and his car would always be stuck, and there'd always be people jumping on his car, singing, "We got Bernard Lama," and he just have a shower, have a cup of tea, wait 10 minutes before the rabble goes, but never would learn.
No, that's it. So I think a lot of the players much prefer it now, just being able to. Yeah, quicker than.
Well, they all get what's name. They all get the coaching now, don't it? So it's like, But so it's and I think that's a shame because I think you do, they are detached, and I think that's why, I think you said when you talk about the era you enjoyed the most, the players were more accessible, and it's I think it's just football in general, not just West Ham. I think it's football in general. You lose that disconnect. It's almost they're almost uber professional now, and so. Their lives via Instagram. So I know Lanzini's got a lovely apartment in Canary Wharf and penthouse, and it's lovely. But I haven't seen him eat pick up a spaghetti bolognese from Safeways. You know what I mean? So you don't get that.
Lanzini in Safeways.
Well, I was interviewing a guy the other day. We were talking about Loughton because obviously Paolo lived in Loughton as well, and I was saying to him, I was Shaka, and I remember Paul Kitson buying this massive bag of pickle mix and didn't play well the next day, and I was like, oh, that's probably why. And he said, Paolo would get his he wouldn't go to say he'd get his wife to do it, and I said, okay, I can imagine that, bless him. But damn, man, it's been lovely, man. Fucking an hour and 20 time flies, man.
It's fun. You know what the funny thing is? I thought because I was saying about my memory, and I thought this is going to be like a bloody 10-minute episode because I'm going to be like, Rob Green, Stuart Pearce, Repka, like because I think
it's not about the games; it's about the feeling, isn't it? And the feeling's different. You can be hazy on some of the, and that's what other people's jobs are to fill in the gaps. But it's all about sort of personality, how you feel, how a player makes you feel, whether it's positive or negative. And
that's it. That anxiety beforehand of like, no, I'm going to play these players. One we have to go. Right, Rob Green made a good save against Man City
when he was diving to the left and.
Yeah, because like I said, some people do it. I see, like the other lads. They pull them out all the time. Like, I remember
that is Ryan, and Ryan is like that though, and he always wins your quizzes and stuff, doesn't he? He always does it.
Well, actually, I'm the undefeated quiz champion. So, because do you know what the funny thing is? Well, usually that's because it's the quiz. We do the season quiz just gone.
Oh, okay.
If we just do like 5 seasons ago, 6 seasons, I'd be like, nah, like I retain it. So
we did one. I did. What's name did one the other day. Baz did one at Cloud Blue, and it was really cool, like an interactive one using that platform, that quiz platform. It's quite good. And I came second. I was gutted because I came second to Kent Hammers and Kent Irons rather. But everyone knew Kent Irons was going to win because he was like he's incredible fact checker, and I was quite pleased with second place, but it was quite good.
That's the thing. Once it gets too far away from that, everything becomes a blur. Everything sort of blurs into one.
It does.
So it's
I'm about 10 years out of everything. You know, I think it was around 2006, and it was like 96. It's like, really? What happened that 10? You know, it's like, okay. Or managers. I forget managers. Like we talked the other day, and Avram Grant came up, and I forgot what era. And it was sort of Scott Parker, and he brought in this person, you know, and then it's all the pieces come a bit together, but after sort of working your way through it. But
that's it. So no, I've really enjoyed it. I'm glad we finally got to.
Me too, Dan. It's been really good. Thank you so much.
A lot of fun. So appreciate it, mate.
Absolutely brilliant. So cheers, man, and obviously thanks everyone for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that type of stuff. Whether you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, Apple podcasting thing, make sure you subscribe. And obviously, West Ham Fans TV, you're probably already one of the 50-odd thousand, almost 60,000 anyway. But if not, help, you know, we all like to like and share alike. Until next time, for me and Dan, take care, everyone. Stay safe, come on you irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.